Hello, everyone. Get the Nas ready. Grab your Corona because. Sorry, was that too much of an intro?
I didn't think you were going to hit me with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. Obviously, as I just said, we are talking about something very near and dear to my heart and actually Alan's heart. We are
Very much
talking
so.
about the first Fast and the Furious. No, we're talking about the 2001. I almost said a cult classic, but it's a slight
No,
above
it's
cult.
yeah, it's not cold class. I think it's definitely well loved by different sects of people. In our heads, we're just like I think we might have an affection for it that's beyond like the car bro affection for it. But you know, I'm not here to put tears of
No,
Fast and
everyone like
Furious fan.
my
Yeah, we're all in
mom.
this together.
My mom is a huge. This is her favorite franchise. I think, like out of modern movies, she's a Fast and the Furious girl. Like it's she's mostly a Vin Diesel person.
Who
Um,
isn't?
I mean, I've seen A Man Apart. I've seen Find Me Guilty. I've seen the Boiler Room. Boiler Room. Actually, just
Well,
found
they're
out his
knockaround guys.
yeah, his first short film, Vin Diesel's, it's the one he sent to Cannes. It's actually on YouTube for free. You can watch.
Oh, multifacial, is that the
Yes,
name of it?
I.
Yeah,
God, he's so young in that.
yeah.
Which
Oh my God. I
it's what?
whenever you did the 20th anniversary look back on this, you did an article in it, and I looked at that picture of all of them, and I was like, gee, because if you asked me like, has Vin Diesel aged? I'd be like, no, he's eternal. But I look back and I'm like, oh my God,
No,
what a baby.
he got chub. He got a little chubby on him.
Yeah.
But no, I look at his career and he's had a crazy career, and
Hmm.
it doesn't start with Fast and the Furious because he was in Save a Private Ryan right before this. He had
Yeah.
multifacial, which is what Spielberg. He's also the voice of the Iron Giant, so he was
Hmm.
having something. But Fast and the Furious was his coming out party. It's all of these actors, though. I mentioned that in the piece. Paul
Hmm.
Walker, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Vin Diesel, Ja Rule, amazing actor of our time. Monica,
Monica.
no, Monica. Wow, I first love. We both know the Monica quote.
That is the most memorable thing Ja Rule did until the Fire Festival.
It's so true. Oh, I remember when that girl put her boot. I was
Yeah,
again. This movie is.
he lost out on that threesome.
I forgot because she
He
said you
lost out
get
on that
me and my
twosome.
friend. Oh
Yeah.
man,
Then then
what a
she reneged on it and didn't do either.
no.
You
She
know,
just seemed
she
to
she
leave the race, and I was like, what are you
yeah, no,
doing?
she was like, you didn't win, so you don't get any sex, which is a shame.
Yeah. I mean, also this movie started my crush on Rick Yoon, Johnny Tran in this movie. He is
Hmm.
so good. I forgot he's in Die Another Day. Um, oof.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
He had a hell of a couple years there, didn't he?
what a couple years. But no, this cast, this movie, it's a time period. I look back at 2001, and in my whole article, I kind of call this the Millennium's first franchise. And what I meant by that was this is the first franchise that's born of the 2000s. You have Transformers that comes out a couple years later, Pirates of the Caribbean, which I believe is the same year, if not the next year, 2001, 2002, I believe.
2003,
Yeah,
I
maybe
think.
it's in the early,
Yeah.
but these are all that's a theme park ride. Transformers is from the 80s cartoon. Fast and the
Mm.
Furious was born of the street racing culture of that time, of hip
Hmm.
hop at that time.
Hmm.
Because I mentioned it, street racing has been around. I mean, Grease, a movie from the 70s about the
Yeah.
50s, hot rods are a thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But street racing changed by the 90s and 2000s. I will say Need for Speed was the catalyst of pushing it to a different direction, because I forget how early those Need for Speed games were
Well, the
coming
original
out.
Need for Speeds weren't quite like street racing culture. There was street racing in it, but it wasn't like this. It
Yes.
wasn't, and this is like this plays to such a different culture
Hmm.
than the old hot rodding and things. Like, yeah, sure, hot rodding muscle cars is is one thing. That's one thing to do, but dropping like dropping your money into your crappy Civic is like that's a different level. You know,
Yeah.
that's more more relatable, more achievable for most people. And it's just like, yeah, I've got this crappy little, cheap uh Japanese import and I'm going to make it fast and I'm going to go race it. Like that's,
And let
that
me tell
that's
you, growing up in Tampa, which is a Spanish, populated thing, which has a
mm,
lot of Asian influence as well. Street racing was a thing. It wasn't like this was a culture that was like very underground. These were people were I we know the bridge in Gandhi in Tampa, where people still to this day do street racing. Like
mm,
it's still a thing, and I laugh that this film really did give them a platform. I mean, this is one of the first movies other than Michael Bay movies in the 90s that bro culture was very shown in a positive light. I mean,
mm,
this was like the good side of being a bro. This is the family side, which is something I've always loved about Vin Diesel movies. Is the bro culture is for everyone. Michelle Rodriguez
mm,
is a bro in this movie. Jordana
yeah,
Brewster is a bro in this movie.
yeah,
Everyone. I mean, and that's what's so funny with this movie is what it was a love letter to a time period and to a thing that subcultures like this rarely get a movie like this and to
mm,
spawn what it is. Because I will say the first two movies, the first two sequels after, are very street racing based as well. By the time we get to
yeah.
four, we're stealing heist. We're doing heists, not DVD player heists. This first movie, they steal DVD
They
players.
still DVD players. It's adorable.
And they treat those DVD players like it's the bank vault in Fast Five. Like,
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, DVD players not as cheap at this point.
I
In
mean, yeah,
2001, DVD players were like people were buying PlayStation 2s in droves because they had DVD players built
yep.
in.
That's just,
Because that was a cheaper way to get a DVD player.
yeah, it's crazy to look back at this time period of 2001 of the
Hmm.
fashion, the music. This song, this soundtrack is so hip hop based and so specific the bling era of hip hop
Flow for the two stacks, hold your back, know how to do that. Once on my feet with the hat to the back, family on the block with the flow with the crack.
where it was starting to be about having fast cars, the big coats, the necklaces.
Hmm.
We're away from the 90s where it was Public Enemy and
Yeah, and
Tupac and
political.
stuff.
Yeah,
We were moving away from that. And this was a much more fabulous time period in hip hop. And this movie just really does capture it. And I will say it's the people who writing it, David Ayer, who wrote this, very much still lives in that era. If you've seen Suicide Squad, um, he has never left 2001.
no,
um, am I upset by that? No, because we all live in a time period. I've seen Bright. He likes the 2000s. He
I'm
will
not
not
upset
leave.
by it because I can just not watch his
Yes. This
movies.
is this is also directed by a person who I'm not going to mention in this because there is
Oh yeah,
very bad allegations against him following another movie he did a year later, which is starring Vin Diesel. But I will always say, Vin Diesel never worked with him again after Triple X, and
that is true.
Vin Diesel will work with somebody until the tires fall off. Like he has
Yeah,
hired Justin Lin to direct all these movies. Like you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
This
he
guy was the John McTiernan of the 2000s.
yeah, and for someone to not return to him, it's interesting there. So I'm glad Vin Diesel was quick to just be like, I don't see it. Bye, thank you. We'll find new
Yeah,
directors.
yeah.
And it's interesting. So yes, this is a time period captured by this director, this writers, but I will say the actors as well. These are they played characters that felt like real people, and
Hmm.
as caricature as they are now, the Mia character, I like her. I like her sister girlfriend role that she plays. And I wrote it in the article.
Hmm.
She isn't just the sister of Vin Diesel or the girlfriend. She's a character that has her own plot and ideas. Same thing with Letty. I mean, Michelle Rodriguez.
Hmm.
She launched. I have such a crush on her because of this movie. I She gets out of that car and just her outfits. Oh my god, I was so in love with her.
Ow! I smell skanks.
What do you remember about this time period? Did you see this movie in theaters? What is your
I
Fast and the Furious knowledge?
I didn't see this one in theaters. I saw this one on like HBO or Cinemax or something at some point shortly thereafter. And I was 11, 12, or whatever, but this like I have very good memories of this era. Like that was very much like a central thing to like the people because I was hanging out with like my brother-in-law who's like 7 years older than me, and he had like a Mitsubishi Eclipse that he had like tuned up and like got like the wild like pearl blue paint job with like silver flames and ridiculous spoilers. And it was never like there was never like a huge street racing culture here where I'm at,
Yeah.
but there was like a bunch of people hang out and show each other their cars and show off, and we do like the arcades and then do that, and like everybody that we played in the arcades with would have had like cars that they put money into and fixed up and all that. So that it was very much, if there was if a town didn't already have this kind of culture, this movie brought that
Yep.
kind of culture to it, and that very much is what happened here. Because we're always like well behind the times over here. Like we're generally like 20 years behind, but yeah, this brought us into into that the street racing culture there.
And it really it made it more popular here and brought it here. I remember this was one of the first times my mom got tickets to this movie from a radio station, so we saw it early. Like
Mm,
it's one of the, I do those press screenings. I do those press screenings now professionally.
yeah, I did that for Too Fast, Too Furious. Actually, some family worked for a radio, and they got us passes for Too Fast, Too Furious that early showing.
Drop it, hell. I want to hear about this, homie.
I said forget about it, cuz.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this early, and this was the first DVD my mom bought. Like this was, I mean, because again, DVDs weren't a common thing in 2001, 2002. We were
Mm,
still VHSs were just dying out finally. So yeah, it's this movie really does hold a special place, and I think it's earned that too. Looking at where it's grown, I mean, not even just the two direct sequels right
mm.
after. I mean, it's a $6 billion franchise
It's
now.
insane what it became. Like it's one like I have liked these later more ridiculous ones to varying degrees, but they've certainly lost the charm of what
Yes.
this had. It's insane that that grew out of this.
No, this feels like
You
an
know?
indie movie in so many ways. Like in
Yeah,
so many, it just feels like a movie that a bunch of friends got together and made. And I think that's
yeah.
I see that movie and I laugh at the humble beginnings of it and like where it's grown. And Vin Diesel's grown as a producer. I mean, he had a good eye for his cast here, and he did help with
Mhm,
the casting process of this because this was very much his baby in so many
yeah,
ways. But now looking at him getting Helen Mirren in his movies, Charlize Theron. I mean, what he's done as a producer from this moment is just mind blowing, and he's so good in this movie. He's so earnest. Like
yeah.
I because I
Vin
just
Diesel is eternally earnest, and that's like the most charming thing about him. Like,
yeah
there's no, there's no like, he doesn't take things too seriously, but he is entirely earnest. There's
yeah
no like irony about it. He's not just like, he's not up in his own up his own ass about
yeah.
these things.
He made
But
a D&D movie called The Last Witch Hunter because he
oh yeah,
liked D&D, not because he was cash grabbing it, because he couldn't get
yeah,
the rights to it, so he just made his own version. Like
yeah.
that's the stuff I appreciate about an artist. I mean, we also have not talked about baby Paul Walker in this movie, and
Little
like
baby Paul Walker.
he birthed into a megastar after this. I mean, he was the biggest star out
Yeah.
of this movie.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's
I
insane.
mean, I think he ended up getting the most work out of out of anybody from this movie because he did like Timeline came out after this.
Because
Joyride, is that
yeah,
the
well,
one I'm
it's the
thinking of?
same year, which
Was that the
I
same year? So
yeah,
yeah, he
2000.
had that 1-2 punch.
Oh yeah, but then no, Into the Blue, Running Scared, Eight Below. I
Oh
know
yeah,
these.
Running Scared.
I love
Yeah,
Running
I
Scared.
remember
Someone
all
just wrote
this.
an article about it on their website. Very good article, very good movie, underrated Paul Walker movie, very strange film. Takers,
Mm.
one of his last big movies
Oh
as
yeah.
well. But I mean, because right before this movie, he was in She's All That and in Varsity
Mm.
Blues.
Oh yeah.
He was the hot jock guy in Varsity Blues, not the main character or
Hmm.
anything, but God,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
and he's also in Tammy and the T-Rex, a '90s movie, where he's wearing a crop top. Go watch
why
Tammy.
does this movie keep coming up?
You know Byron, don't you?
Yeah, I think everybody knows Byron. He's a baby in that too. But yeah, no, those were just watching him grow into what it is. And Fast and Furious gave him that platform. He plays a layered character. He is the FBI agent or the LAPD in this one. That
Yeah, that wants to be in the FBI. Like
yeah, and
this
then
is his
goes
trial run.
and he goes undercover, and I like the duality of his character. And I much more than Point Break, which this is just Point Break with cars.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
got why he liked this group more. I
Mhm.
understood why he fell in love with Mia, but with this and being like, yeah, they're bad. Yeah, they're doing bad things. But first off, Johnny Train and them are the worst people, and two, they're just doing it to
Were they?
survive. And I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel
they were they were abusing people,
yeah, they were a
like
little bit
torturing
more
guys.
aggressive. Because
Yeah,
I feel like they made a point that they never really tried to hurt the drivers. It was only the drivers who got tired of getting robbed that were shooting them at the end with Jesse. No, Jesse gets shot in the drive. Jesse gets shot in the drive by Johnny Tran and all them too. So,
yeah,
uh, but
yeah.
again, that's
Oh,
him coming back. That Vince character comes back into Fast Five. So he really did.
oh yeah,
Vin Diesel really started a family here, and you can tell. And we're getting to the point. This is the 20-year anniversary of this movie, and it blows my
yeah.
mind
It's
that
insane.
it's grown from 20 years to what it was. And I honestly, looking at Tokyo Drift, I didn't think it would be going to space eventually.
Oh, Tokyo Drift is good though. Like,
Other than that guy's accent, which I thought was a fake accent, and then I saw
oh
him in
no,
like
that's just him because it's the kid from Sling Blade.
No, I mean, not where you live. Where'd you come from?
yeah, he's also in NCIS like New Orleans or something, and I was like, this accent's fake. Oh no, that's what he sounds like. It's like
Oh my God, if you want to talk about fake accents in NCIS New Orleans, fucking Scott Bakula, who I love. Like that's awful, awful.
but
Anyway, sorry.
no, something else I will credit for Vin Diesel as well is he loves diversity. Like from this first movie is missing like a predominant black character. I guess Ja Rule would be, but from here on out, these franchises have had one or two of everybody, and it's
Yeah,
not a forced diversity. Vin Diesel
no,
just
it's not.
really wants everyone in these movies. He loves every culture. I mean, he's obsessed with Spanish culture. You can tell because these movies are
Yeah,
always tinged with a Latin vibe and all that. But
yeah, and he's
it-
always saying things in like
welcome
broken
to
Spanish.
Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but
He also
no,
likes this a
yeah.
lot too in movies where he likes.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Like,
I mean,
do that. Do that more in your regular life. I promise you, because I took this from him. If you just do this when you enter a room, you own the room.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the situation is, how you're feeling. Just walk in a room with your arms just stretched open, like you're introducing something great. And even if somebody hates you for it, it doesn't matter. You own that room.
yeah.
There's a lot of things you can pick up on from Vin Diesel. I promise
And
you.
if you just drop the 2000s version of We Live in a Society, which was I Live My Life a Quarter Mile at a Time.
Oh, that's so much better.
I know. It's such a good
We,
again, the lines of this movie, I will make fun of David Ayer for the rest of my life.
oh my
But some
God,
of the
it's
lines of this
so
movie are just
cheesy good though.
yeah, and I believe these characters. There's an earnestness to it. It's a good movie. I hope this video can encourage people to like go back and revisit this film. It's aged well. There's not too many like offensive jokes or anything.
Yeah, surprisingly not.
Like I feel like some of the other ones, don't go to the Tyrese ones. Too Fast, Too Furious will age worse, I think.
Oh, I'm certain. One, it wasn't as good to begin with, and two, it's just yeah. There's more of that. Tyrese's sense of humor, a little bit more.
You also have the hilarious Paul Walker show. Not like he does a very like African American vernacular line in that thing where I was like, oh no, oh Paul Walker,
Does
you
he?
did not. Oh yeah, there's like he's talking to Tyrese and he's just like, all right, shawty, and I'm like, no, Paul, you did not do this before. We're not doing this. No one appropriates cultures in this movie. Everyone just appreciates cultures in this movie. Don't try. Like, also, this
Yeah.
franchise, later on launched Gal Gadot's career, and I like her, so give them credit. I mean,
Oh yeah.
these again, Vin Diesel has an eye for talent. I mean, he got a lot
Yeah,
of people here. Like Michelle Rodriguez just did Girl Fight. I mean, the year before that, which was a very big
yeah,
movie. But
yeah,
still, this was her first big coming out, and from here was SWAT and Resident Evil and Avatar. I can't believe she's a main character in those movies, but
yeah. Uh, yeah.
she's in Blood
Oh
Rain,
God.
where she met her girlfriend at that time. Because I think her
Were-
and Christina Loken had a little.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Michelle's never
that's
come out. Allegedly, she's never come out. So
that's an imbalanced talent imbalanced talent ratio there because Christina Loken not good.
what a 2000s. So yes, looking back
What
at
a 2000s.
looking back
Uh,
at Fast and the Furious 2001, what's your final thoughts on this film? Is there anything you would like anyone to take away from this, or something you took away from revisiting the nostalgia?
no one likes the tuna.
I like the tuna here. Bullshit, asshole. No one likes a tuna here.
No one likes the tuna.
Bullshit, asshole. No one likes the tuna.
Oh,
It's a
do you remember
great
that?
line.
Do you remember that time where she was talking about asked Vince at that little Cuban restaurant that he wanted to go to, and she said, "Thank you, Paul Walker's taking me there." I love that
Yeah.
line.
It's just so catty. It's great.
Again, it's
Uh,
just good lines. There's good. I believe these people when they steal the beer, and I'm like, oh, but that's his beer. But don't give it to Brian. But Brian's gonna drink it because, I'm gonna go rewatch.
the Buster brought me here. I love every bit of it. Like,
The Buster brought me back.
it's cheesy, but I think it also understands that it's cheesy. Like, I don't think that this movie thinks that it's going for Oscars.
No,
You
it's bro
know?
camp. It is
Yeah,
the definition of bro camp. It's guys in their attempt at like being not serious, which we need more of. Like I wish there was more of the earnestness that this movie has of like bro culture and just diving into this without being too serious, but still
yeah,
being like we can laugh at like our macho-ness. And this movie does
yeah,
laugh at macho men a lot too. Like it mocks them. Like Vince's character gets made fun of the whole movie for that. Like
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. I haven't watched it in several years, but yeah, I think it's well worth anybody checking out. I think that this and Tokyo Drift, I think, despite the ridiculous, stupid action, over the top shit we get later, I think this and Tokyo Drift are the best movies in the franchise.
yeah, I would say Fast Five is the only one that feels like a real like cinema. Like I think it has the most blockbuster appeal to it. I think I would
Yeah,
rank mine 1, 5, Tokyo Drift, and the rest could.
I'm probably with you on that because I really liked five. I didn't enjoy its progenitors as much.
No, but five just it's just it's good. The Rock and Vin Diesel before
Yeah,
they hated each other too. Like they
yeah,
actually liked each other, and you could tell kind of.
yeah.
Uh,
It felt like, oh my god, Fast Five feels like the best WrestleMania.
wow. Yes. Yes. Wow.
Yes.
That is that. We might have to do a whole video on that, and the title is Fast Five just the best WrestleMania? Um, all right, thank you so much for joining me for our Fast and Furious conversation. We both have such a love
Yeah,
for Vin Diesel, so I'm glad we got to get it out. You know way
yeah.
more quotes from this movie. The Buster brought me here. I will be thinking about that all day now. Thank you.
This is just ingrained because it's not like I've watched this in a while.
The tuna, that line, you just took me out with it too. All right, guys. Quote your favorite Fast and the Furious quote down below. Let me know what you think, even if it's, I don't know, one Johnny Tran says, remember his little cousin or something? Oh, loved his character too. All right, guys,
Yeah,
comment down
yeah.
below. What?
Yeah, let's talk about it down below. I will be in the comments. We will be engaged about Fast and
Uh,
Furious.
awesome. All right, guys, comment down below. Subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you again, Alan, for joining me for our Fast and Furious conversation.
It was wonderful.